R.C. Bhargava, Chairman of India's biggest passenger car company, Maruti Suzuki, joins us live. Mr. Bhargava, good morning and thank you for joining us. Let me start off with something which is of immense market curiosity. There is great news for autos because because excise duty has come down. But is there a direct correlation between lower prices and demand?
Well, always the economics tells us that a lower price must always mean a higher demand in everything. It of course depends on the price elasticity of the product. But I'm pretty sure that this reduction in the prices which has now taken place will lead to increase in demand. By how much, I don't know, but the volumes could go up anything between 5 to 10%.
Mr. Bhargava, good morning. Are you happy though with the excise duty cut? I mean, is it satisfactory or you think more could have been done for the sector because the rising fuel cost impact would be in any case set off post the duty cut?
No, I think the duty cut which has taken place is really quite a good cut. What, of course, I sometimes wonder is that, you know, the car industry and particularly the petrol car manufacturers have actually been in trouble for 3 years now. And I wish some of these concessions had come a little bit earlier, then the industry would not have reached the kind of low levels which it has now reached. You know, it's like saying that we will do the repair work only after everything is broken down. There is no kind of preventive maintenance because it was quite clear over the last 3 years as to what has been happening.
Right. Just for the benefit of our viewers, are you likely to pass on the entire excise duty benefit?
Oh, it's already been passed on. If you check the market prices today, you'll find that all the prices have come down based on the new excise duty.
Your plan to set up plant in Gujarat has got you a lot of bad press. It's been a PR disaster for Maruti.
I don't think so. I think there are a lot of people who took time to understand what it was about, but the net result is today I think most people understand what it is. They're still waiting for a more authentic information in terms of the final contract, which in terms of time will take maybe a few more weeks. But there is no doubt in my mind that this deal is totally in the interests of Maruti and its shareholders. And of course it also benefits Suzuki. So it's a deal which is a win-win for all the parties to the transaction.
I want one assurance from you, sir. And that assurance that the transfer pricing norms, whenever they would be finalized, they would be fair. Can you assure that?
What I can assure you is that the price at which we will get the cars from Suzuki's subsidiary in Gujarat would be lower than the price at which we would have got the cars if it was made by ourselves in Gujarat.
Mr. Bhargava, so let me just go back to the point that you were earlier making. Post this fresh excise duty cut yesterday, there won't be any further price cuts that you would execute?
No, this price cut is essentially a price cut based on the lower excise duty. It's not that we have lowered our prices. The consumer price has gone down because the excise duty which was charged on the cost of production in the factory, the price at which we sell the cars, instead of 12%, now we only have to pay 8%. So there's a 4% reduction in the tax on the cost of production. The other costs of distribution, which includes transportation, dealers' margins, sales tax, they all remain unchanged. And there is no cause today for any kind of further price reduction at this point of time.
So let me just get this right, Mr. Bhargava. What kind of a monetary benefit on an average will a Maruti customer enjoy? Do you think it could be upwards of 25,000 rupees?
No, it would depend on the price of the car because the benefit of this excise duty including all the distribution costs, which I said don't remain, they don't change at all, comes to roughly 3.5% on what was the consumer price earlier. So depending on whatever the consumer price for a particular model was earlier, the price now should be about 3.5% lower.
Mr. Bhargav, excise duty by definition is charged the minute cars they leave the factory, but dealers are sitting on inventory. What happens to their loss?
Our usual practice has been that we compensate the dealers for the difference between the current price and the price which existed before the excise duty was cut, because dealers are unable to absorb that amount of loss per car, and in the past we have always compensated dealers for that loss. I imagine that is a decision which the management would also take in this case going forward.
Mr. Bhargav, that is going to impact your margins as well in the coming quarter then.
Yeah, sure, to that extent it will, but it will be offset by the higher sales which we expect will happen.
Really see a pickup in volumes for SUVs more than small cars post the duty cut?
Well, the reduction in price on SUVs is a little bit higher. It's about 2% higher for SUVs than it is for cars. So it might, because the SUVs had been going down also, so it might lead to some revival in SUV sales also.
Mr. Bhargav, one question which has left in my mind is that what happens to the consumer preference when car prices, they come down by about 4 to 5%. A 4 lakh rupee car would be cheaper by about 15,000. A 10 lakh rupee car would be cheaper by about 40,000. Do they tend to trade up?
Sure. I don't think so, because the difference is not all that large to make them move from one category of cars to the next category of cars. It may happen at the margin. People who were toying between choosing a lower category product and a higher category product earlier but not able to make up their minds. For them, there might be a difference situation today with the lower price of the bigger models. But that will only happen at the margin. But equally, people who were toying with the idea of buying a car or not buying a car because they were not sure they could afford it, some of them will now obviously take a decision to buy a car because the entry-level car has become cheaper by about 10,000-12,000 rupees.
Mr. Bhargav, let me just congratulate you. Most analysts post the budget yesterday have really given a thumbs up to your stock, and your stock is their best pick amongst the entire auto sector. So good going. Thanks much for taking time out and joining us today.